West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West Coast.
Oh my goodness. What a Monday full of sports, whether it's on the field, off the field, just many things to talk about. The World Cup, round of 16, could not get out to a better start. Four amazing games, a lot of drama going on in the NBA, even though the season ended literally a couple of weeks ago. But the free agency stuff is starting to really pick up, and it's a lot of stuff to talk about. And yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome, and I'm excited for Wednesday to come, and we'll see what happens. Who's going where? A lot of trades possibly might be on the horizon, and we'll see what happens with that. And before I get started, guys, remember always to subscribe, rate, and review. And let's get to it right now. As I said, the round of 16 is underway in the World Cup, and yeah, it's been absolutely bonkers. Four crazy games, starting with the game on Sunday, where Canada got the win over South Africa with a game winner in the 90th minute at the absolute end. It was absolute cinema. Although the game was kind of iffy for most of the game was kind of slow, but at the end, Canada picked up the pace, and they played with some aggression. They got the win in regulation right at the end. Steven Eustachio with the game winning goal, and it was absolutely crazy. In SoFi Stadium in LA, crowd was going nuts. A lot of people from Canada traveled from Canada to come here to see that game, and the atmosphere was crazy and a great way to kick off the round of 16. And yeah, they'll be ready to go, and they're the first team to advance to the round of 16. And then today in the morning, Brazil and Japan, and this one was absolutely insane as well. For sure, a lot of people were thinking that it was going to go to extra time with the way Brazil and Japan were playing. They were neck and neck, both going at each other throughout the entire game. But literally in the final minute, once again, final minute, another game-winning goal by Gabriel Martinelli right at the end, literally in the final seconds. A nice goal inside, nice off the side of the foot, and yeah, it was an absolute beauty and a great win for Brazil. An absolutely heartbreaking loss if you're a Japan fan. That was tough. I have a couple of friends who were rooting for Japan, and yeah, they were they were going through it, and I feel, man, I feel for it, man. That was a really tough loss to swallow. You were literally a minute away from possibly going to extra time, possibly going to penalty shootouts. But yeah, that's how much of a you got to play focus in these knockout games, man. Because if you make one little mistake, it can cost you, and it definitely did for Japan. And it was at the worst time when they literally could have gone to extra time and possibly have a chance to win it. But yeah, just one slight mistake, like I said, and it cost them. And yeah, they're going home, and that's a tough loss. But if you're a Japan fan, they play very well, and you got to be impressed by the way they play. But it was this one little instance where one little mistake cost them, and their season's over. So tough loss for them. But overall, great game, and yeah, a great way to start off today's games. And then we had an upset in the middle game between Paraguay and Germany, and a lot of people were thinking that Germany was going to go out there and flex their muscles and just absolutely dominate Paraguay. Paraguay was very inconsistent in group play. They were able to escape and barely move on to the round of 16. And with that, people were thinking, yeah, Germany is just going to run all over them and destroy them. But it was close in the first half. A lot of people were thinking, hey, man, Paraguay's holding the road, man. Maybe they might make this a closer game than I thought. And then you just kept watching it and watching. They were like, wow, Paraguay's not scared, man. They're out there, and they're playing hard, and they're not afraid of the other team over there. They're not intimidated, and they were hanging in throughout, and they were able to hang in and get into extra time and held their own in extra time. And then in the penalty shootouts, they were a mentally tougher team. Their goalie really stepped up and made some big saves for them. And when it mattered to make those timely penalties, they didn't. They made those timely penalty shots and showed their poise. And yeah, David beat Goliath in this one. This was the absolute David Goliath game, and they went in there and upset Germany in this game in the round of 16. and Germany's headed home, and a lot of people are shocked, including myself. I thought that it was going to be uh, another dominant run for Germany and possibly get to the final eight and have a chance to get to the final. But just like that, it's over, and they're headed home. And yeah, Paraguay, man, they're moving on, and what a story they become, and what a story they could possibly be, because it's not over. They're gonna keep playing, and I know it's gonna be a lot of powerhouses waiting for them across the road. But hey, they already beat one giant, so why can't they do it again? It's possible. We've seen some crazier things in this tournament before, so this is only a great confidence booster for Paraguay, and they can keep going and they can learn from this. And yeah, they're gonna be confident no matter who is gonna play them in the next round, in the round of 16. And yeah, what an amazing upset, and yeah, another outstanding game. And then the nightcap, Morocco, Netherlands, and absolute thriller to close out the game. I was able to watch this game fully throughout, and yeah, man, it was looking like Netherlands was gonna take control. They got the first goal of the game, and they had all the momentum. But then Morocco was able to get that late goal in the final minutes of regulation, and they turned the momentum around, and it was an absolute barn burner going into extra time. Both teams were letting it all out. They're playing physical, and they were trying their best to do what they can to score in extra time. But you can tell they were both gassed once they got to the second extra time in the final 15 minutes of that. Yeah, they were absolutely gassed. Both teams, they were letting it all out and had many chances. There was one chance in the second extra time where Morocco could have ended it right there, but a crazy save by the goalkeeper of Netherlands kept that game tied. And yeah, man, that could have ended right there, but he made a really huge save and was able to keep Netherlands in it, and they were able to get it into penalty shootouts. But as we saw in that Paraguay Germany game, as we've seen in many penalty shootouts, it's all up here. It's the mental game, man, because it's a 50-50 chance, because you can play as hard as you can for an entire game, but if you get to a penalty shootout, if you miss that one shot, that's it. That could possibly end your season right there. And yeah, Netherlands was not ready mentally. They missed a lot of shots, hit the post many times, and Morocco did as well. They had a couple shots that were costly, and yeah, they hit the crossbar, hit the post a couple times. But when it mattered, when they had to make those timely shots, they did, and they hit those timely penalty shots. And the goalie for them really stepped up, made some huge saves, and it was some of Netherlands kicking themselves in the foot as well. But at the same time, goalie came up big, and yeah, man, an absolute gut wrenching loss for the Netherlands to take on. You could tell at the end they were absolutely disgusted that they lost this game. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic, all time great soccer player who played in the Netherlands for one of the clubs out there. He even said in the post game, he was like, "Hey man, this is not Netherlands football. This is not Dutch football. I was taught over there that you play aggressive. They play an aggressive style, and they come at you from start to finish." And when he was saying that they were playing a little too conservative, I could agree with that. Especially in extra time, you can tell that they were tired, and they were playing a little more not to lose instead of going all in for the win, and it cost them. And yeah, they were thinking that they had it in penalties, but as I said, once they got the penalties, mentally they just were not locked in, and Morocco was the more mentally tough team in that instance. And yeah, as Zlatan was saying that they were not going all the way in, and yeah, that was not their identity. You can see that wasn't their identity. They should have kept going with their game plan they've been playing with from the start of the tournament, and they didn't do that. They played with a little more conservative a conservative approach in this one, and yeah, it cost them. And everyone thinks that yeah, having an identity is no rated thing, but it's a real thing, man. Like your team needs to know how they play. Not every team plays the same. It's like in the NBA. Not every team can shoot the three. Not every team is a tough grind out defense. Not every team has all the superstar talent. Every single team has a different way they play, and you have to stick to that identity, and you got to live by that identity. And for Netherlands to completely play a different style, even though they tied the game late, it was still not Dutch football. And a great point by Zlatan to point that out. And we saw that that was the case for them going into extra time and going to penalty shootouts. They were absolutely stunned, and yeah, they're going home, and they look like they were poised for a big run themselves. But yeah, Morocco was able to keep their poise, and credit to Morocco, man. A lot of people did not think that they were an absolute powerhouse in soccer, but in the last World Cup, they stunned some people. Like they were able to get pretty far in the tournament, and a lot of people were thinking that they were a bit of a fluke, and that was just going to be a Cinderella season, a one-hit wonder. But they came back in this tournament ready to play. They got some younger talent in there. They've really developed some players over there in that country, and yeah, they look ready to go. They have a lot of 20-year-old people, 20-year-old players in that team, and they're not afraid of the moment, especially in the shootout, man. Like you would think for a 20 early 20-year-old that you would be nervous in that moment, but they were absolutely poised. They were focused. They were not pressured at all. Took their time in those shots, and and they look ready to play. And credit to the coaching staff and to the program over there in Morocco. They're doing a great job of teaching those kids how to play. And yeah, they could possibly do some damage going forward in this tournament. And they will play Canada in the round of 16. That'll be a really good one. Canada's first time in the round of 16 against Morocco. And yeah, it'll be a really fun game to watch. So I'm excited for that one. And keep your eye on that one. And yeah, just overall, if you're a soccer fan, these first 2 days of the round of 16 have been absolutely outstanding. And we're gonna get another good one tomorrow when Mexico plays Ecuador, and I'll break that down a little bit. But yeah, overall, if you're the FIFA corporation, you got to be absolutely super ecstatic with the way the round of 16 has played off. The ratings are probably are through the roof. Everybody's into the games right now. The games are absolutely outstanding throughout the tournament. All the stars are showing up. Whether it's Messi, whether it's Arling Holland, whether it's Kylian Mbappe, a lot of guys, they're showing up and they're playing well and they're showing out their talent, their star power. And yeah, man, the World Cup has been absolutely outstanding. It's been an absolute must watch every single day of this tournament. And for the round of 16 to kick off like this, ooh, man, it's gonna be awesome. And this is just the midway point. We still have a couple rounds to go, heading into the finals. So yeah, it's awesome right now. And yeah, I'm very excited. And tomorrow I will be in attendance, not at the game, but I will be at a watch party watching Mexico and Ecuador, and that's going to be an absolute crazy atmosphere with all the Mexican fans there, and it's going to be fun to watch. And that game, it's going to be wild. Mexico will be at home at the Estadio Azteca, ready to go against Ecuador, and it's going to be a tough one. And a lot of people were thinking that Ecuador was not the best opponent, but they're a good opponent, man. They have a history of doing pretty well in the World Cup. I get it. They started off a little slow in this tournament this year, but they were able to bounce back in their last two games and play better. And they're going to be ready to go, and they're going to be motivated because a lot of people are thinking that they have no shot because Mexico is undefeated so far in this tournament and have not allowed a goal in this tournament. So Mexico's got to be ready because Ecuador is going to be motivated and ready to go. So I think this game is going to be pretty close. I think possibly Mexico will give up a goal. I don't think they'll go scoreless forever and not allow a goal forever. They got to allow a goal at some point, and I think they will in this game. Unfortunately, I hope not. With my heart, I hope not. But objectively, I think they will allow one goal, and I think they'll get a couple of late goals on offense. And I think Mexico will end up winning this game 2-1 on their home soil and move on to round of 16. But it's gonna be a tough one because yeah, it's gonna be a wild atmosphere with all the people there, all of Mexico ready for that game. It's gonna be crazy in that environment. I can only imagine how it's like over there in Mexico City. It's gonna be absolutely insane. The Azteca is gonna be jumping. and yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. So Ecuador's gonna have a tough challenge, but they didn't come here for nothing. They came there to win. So it's gonna be fun to watch, and yeah, I think Mexico will pull it out in a close one, 2-1 in this one. And the USA, they play Wednesday against Bosnia, and that should be another good one too. Although Bosnia is looked at as the most weakest opponent in the round of 16, so USA should be able to go in there and do some damage. Christian Pulisic will come back. He's been out for a couple of games with a calf injury. He'll be back fully healthy in this one, and Balogun will keep doing his thing. Alex Freeman will keep doing his thing, and they've been playing well defensively as well. And yeah, I think USA should get a pretty good win here. I think they'll win 3-1 or 4-1 around there. Score about 3 to 4 goals. They should win pretty handily. Credit to Bosnia, they've done pretty well, but I don't think they can match up with the talent of USA. And USA has been well coached this time, and they're ready to go, and they have more star power. They play more as a unit this year compared to other years. And yeah, I think USA will get a pretty good win here and win it 3-1 or 4-1. If I was to say, yeah, I'll give them 3 just to be safe. I'll give Bosnia a little respect, so I'll say 3-1 USA in that one. And yeah, France is going to play as well, and a lot of good games. So be glued to the TV, guys. The round of 16 is going to be awesome, and yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So keep your guys focused to the World Cup, and we'll see what happens in the round of 16 for the next week and a half. And moving on to basketball, we got some crazy stuff going on as we head into free agency on Wednesday, and a lot of rumors are starting to happen. The rumor mill is really starting to pick up, beginning with Jalen Duren, who was expected to sign an extension with the Detroit Pistons. They were looking to offer him, well, they could offer him a 5-year, $287 million extension, max extension, to come back to the franchise. 22-year-old, 13 All-NBA this year, was an All-Star last year, had a really good year, had a bit of a disappointing playoffs. His numbers dropped all across the board. As expected, it was tough for him in his first playoffs, but they still thought that he would do a lot better than that. And yeah, he played pretty poorly throughout the playoff run for the Pistons that ended against the Cavaliers in that second round. But yeah, they're not agreeing to terms right now. Both sides are not on the same page when it comes to an extension. Jalen Duren wants the Supermax, and the Pistons are so hesitant. They're like, nah, we don't think you deserve it, especially after that tough performance you had in the playoffs. We don't think that you deserve that yet. You're still pretty young. You're 22 years old. You're still need some things to improve on. And Jalen doesn't think that. He thinks that he deserves the money. And credit to him, I think he can make the case because, yeah, he was a first-time All-Star. He was 13 All-NBA, had a career high in scoring, career high in rebounding, was very good defensively, was part of the best defensive team in the NBA and the Pistons when it comes to efficiency. And he can make the case, but I understand both sides. When it comes to Detroit, you expect more out of him, especially being the number 2 guy to Cade Cunningham, and he didn't do enough to help out Cade Cunningham in those playoffs. And for Duren, as I said, yeah, he can make the case that he had the best year of his career, and he did have the best year of his career in terms of his personal accolades, but it just didn't work out when it came to getting the wins in playoff time. So yeah, he's looking to possibly go elsewhere, and he's looking at a possible sign and trade to either the Kings or the Lakers. He's gonna meet with the Kings and Lakers in the next 2 days and discuss a possible sign and trade. And this is gonna be crazy because he could be a good fit on either team. Beginning with the Kings, they're not a good team, so but he would fit there, and they can give him a lot of money because they could possibly trade Domantas Sabonis and get him in exchange for him, and he can be the big man going forward for them, and they can build with him. He's still pretty young. He's 20 years old, and he still has a lot of years of his prime left. He hasn't even entered his prime, honestly. 22 years old is still very young. Usually your prime is around 26 to 28 around there. So he still has a lot of time to grow into his game. But the Kings, as we know, they're a struggling franchise. They have a lot of things they gotta fix before they could possibly be a contender again. But they were able to get Darius Acuff this year in this year's draft with the seventh overall pick. So maybe you pair Duren with Acuff, get a nice pick and roll going, get some chemistry between those guys, and they can possibly build something for the future there. And they need some other pieces as well. They need to fix that roster. And yeah, maybe Duren may want to have a rebuild. Maybe he wants to have a new start somewhere else where he can have a fresh start, get over the demons of these last playoffs that he had, and start over on a more mediocre franchise and get them back to contention because the Pistons were struggling for a couple years too. But he was able to go in there as a homegrown player and help get them back up with Kate Cunningham, who's another homegrown player for them, and get them back to contention. So he could possibly do the same thing in Sacramento for the Kings. So that should be interesting there, and we'll see if he can possibly go there, and they can give him the money, and he can be a building block for them for the future. And for the Lakers, he would step into a ready to win situation right away. Of course, with Luka Doncic, he is the franchise player. He's a superstar, and he's in his prime, and he's looking to win a championship right away. He wants a high quality big man, and Jalen Duren would be that guy. He's only going to get better. He's still pretty young, as I said, and there's still some things that he can get better at. And for Luka to have a good lob threat to him, and have a nice pick and roll partner who can defend, who can get rebounds and stuff like that, that'd be good. And yeah, he'll step into a situation where LeBron is looking to come back and see the pieces that they have, and Duren would be a nice piece, and I think LeBron would like that piece for them, and the Lakers would finally have a legit center. And they'll have a two-headed monster at center because DeAndre Ayton came back. He accepted his qualifying offer, and he's back with the team, so he'll look at being a backup. And Jalen Duren will be the starter, and they can do a nice rotation with those two guys. Both guys don't have to play heavy minutes. They can JJ Redick can match both guys pretty well and find the right matchup for each player on every single night, and not put too much pressure on either guy. And yeah, and Luka will have a nice pair of centers to throw lobs to, and to have some pick and roll stuff with. So that'd be a good move for them. The Lakers need a center. They need a guy in the middle who can defend, and Jalen Duren's a very good defender. I wouldn't say he's a great shot blocker, but he's still a very strong presence in the paint. He doesn't let anybody punk him in there. He's good. He gets rebounds. He's athletic, and that's what the Lakers need. And if he can be the guy in the middle for them, that'd be great, and should lift them to new heights going into next season. So he would be a good fit there. And yeah, Jalen Duren could possibly be on the move. We'll see. Will he stay in Detroit? Will the Pistons change their minds and give him the money and give him that moolah? Or will Jalen Duren say, hey, bro, I played my ass off this year. I'm going to play better for you. I expect the money. I want the money right now. And he can say, sayonara, bro. I want out. Or maybe he can be like, hey, I get it. I didn't play well. I'm still pretty young. I can take a pretty friendly deal, and then get another contract in my mid-20s, and improve from there. But from what it sounds like, he sounds like he wants the money straight up right now, up front. And yeah, he could possibly be in the move, and he has two suitors to look forward to possibly do a sign and trade: the Kings and the Lakers. So as free agency begins on Wednesday, we'll see where Jalen Duren ends up in the next couple of weeks. It should be interesting. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Moving on to another story here in the city of LA with Kawhi Leonard. And he's heading into his final year on his contract with the Clippers. And an interesting story late last night, Shams Charania reported that he could possibly be heading back to Toronto. The Clippers and the Raptors are talking for a possible trade Of course, Kawhi Leonard went to the Raptors on a 1 year deal when he was traded from the Spurs in 2019, and ironically led the Raptors to a championship, the only championship in franchise history. And he is a god there in Toronto still, even though he said from the start that he didn't want to be there. He was looking to be out of there after a year, and in that year, he got them their first championship, and he's looked at as royalty over there. And I know for sure Raptors fans would love to have him back. And it sounds like he's welcome to be back. He wants to be back. Reportedly, he would be welcome to sign an extension there and build with that young core they have there with Scotty Barnes and with RJ Barrett and those guys in Toronto. And yeah, he would love to come back. And it's interesting because the Clippers are having some issues themselves. They possibly are looking at a full on rebuild. They got Darius Garland at the trade deadline for James Harden last season. They're looking to go young in the backcourt. They drafted Keaton Wagler, fifth overall in this draft. So they're looking at a whole new regime in the backcourt with those two young guys, and they want to build something with those two young guys. And they're thinking, hey, Kawhi Leonard's 34 years old, going to be 35 next year. And they're thinking, hey, man, we don't think that his we appreciate his time here. He's been an all-star. He's had his fair share of injuries and his fair share of failures with the team, and has not really been what they expected when it comes to winning. But he still played pretty well for them when he does play. That's a big issue. But it looks like they're ready to move on, and they've been happy for his services. But hey, both sides are ready to go separate ways, and it sounds like Steve Ballmer is saying, "Hey, man, it's time to kick the can and let him go." And it sounds like it's gonna happen, and maybe they can get something good in return. They could possibly get Brandon Ingram back in the deal, maybe get RJ Barrett back in the deal, and a pick or so, a pick swap or second round pick, whatever it takes. I wouldn't say it's going to be they'll get a first rounder in return because Kawhi is only a 1 year deal expiring contract, and he's going to be 35, so he's not in his prime exactly. He's towards the end of his prime, and along with the injury concerns and the availability concerns with the load management and all that, his value is not as high as it was when he was in San Antonio, and he was in his prime and he was healthier from the start there. But yeah, it would be a great fit for him to go to Toronto. He'll be with Scotty Barnes, depending on if they keep Brandon Ingram, depending on if they keep RJ Barrett. We'll have a nice running mate in the backcourt. Whoever it is stays on the team. He'll have Emmanuel Quickly there, and they have a nice young core in Toronto. Remember they pushed the Cavaliers. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals to 7 games in that series, and it took some heroics from the Cavaliers late in that series to win that series. And the Raptors showed some people, hey, they're ready to play, and these young kids are starting to really learn and pick things up, and they're ready to take the next step. And with Kawhi Leonard there, if he is available, and it's a big if, I understand a huge if, but if he is there, they could possibly do some damage in the East. And I get it, the Knicks, they're the reigning champions. They're gonna be tough. The Pistons, depending on if Jalen Duren does come back, they're still a factor. The Celtics, we'll see if Jaylen Brown indeed is traded or does come back. There's still a lot of questions there. But the Eastern Conference will be better. The Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton is going to be back and healthy. And yeah, the Eastern Conference will be a lot more better throughout the conference. It won't be just 2 to 3 teams top heavy carrying the load. It'll be a pretty good 1 through 8 going into next season. And yeah, it's going to be tough, but for the Raptors, yeah, if they get Kawhi Leonard back in the fold, he's already done it once for that team. So why can't he do it again? It's a big if, and I understand. But if Kawhi Leonard's healthy in the playoffs, we've seen that he can carry a team and go on the run, and he's done it before in that jersey, and he looks motivated to possibly do it again. He's already had success there. He has people there that mess with them, and yeah, man, we'll see. Kawhi Leonard could be back in Toronto for the Raptors, and that should be interesting. So keep an eye on that. And also real quick, it could be a must thing to do for the Clippers too, because remember they're still going through the saga of the scandal when it came to the illegal tree company thing, where Kawhi was taking money from uh, a different payment, not from the salary cap, and that's illegal. And Steve Ballmer could be in trouble. Kawhi could be in trouble. So maybe the Clippers are saying, "Hey, man, if we trade Kawhi and send him to another team, maybe the stench of the whole scandal may go away, and maybe the NBA and Adam Silver may not drop the hammer as hard on us as we thought because Kawhi is not here on the team no more." And yeah, that could be the reason why they possibly could move on from Kawhi. It's that Kawhi is an expiring contract. His availability is always an issue. He's getting up there in age, and it just sounds like it's time. And we'll see if indeed Kawhi has played his final game with the Clippers last season, and he could possibly be on a new team going into next season. So keep an eye on that, and it should be an interesting story going into free agency. And last but not least, we have a possible reunion here, but on a new team, where LeBron James and Anthony Davis could reunite, not on the Lakers, on the Golden State Warriors. This is a new story that came out in the middle of the day today, that LeBron could possibly join the Warriors with join Anthony Davis on the Warriors, and the Warriors are showing interest in Anthony Davis. They could make a trade for him and give us some pieces to Washington, who was due to could possibly give him a contract extension in the next 2 months for about 240 to 270 million around there. And Anthony Davis could sign that. But from what it sounds like, Anthony Davis and the Wizards are not on the same page when it comes to that. And the Wizards could be looking forward to possibly trading him. And on Anthony Davis's wish list, it is the Golden State Warriors. And the Warriors have shown some interest. And they sound like they could possibly be the ones that could give it all up and get him in the fold. They need a center, and AD will be a good fit there. And also, Draymond Green also opted out of his deal and is welcome to play for less. So that could be another thing as well. So the money situation to give AD an extension is there as well. And it could possibly fit in. And if Anthony Davis is with the Warriors, that welcomes the opportunity of LeBron James, who is a free agent this offseason. He could possibly rejoin him and go to Golden State, where he can be the point guard alongside Stephen Curry, alongside AD, alongside Draymond, and maybe Jimmy Butler if he's not a part of a trade for AD. He could still possibly be on the squad, and you can get the old band back together on this team with the Warriors. A lot of old guys, but a lot of veterans who have been through the Warriors and have won at the highest level. And yeah, you can possibly have a certain lineup of LeBron, Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Anthony Davis. And it sounds great on paper. And yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's a lot of star power, a lot of accomplishments, a lot of accolades, but a huge injury risk. Beginning with AD, we know AD has always been a fragile player. Ever since he started off in New Orleans, he's always had these nagging injuries when it comes to his lower body, his upper body, his shoulders, everywhere. He just his eyes, everywhere, head to toe. He just has had a very bad injury luck throughout his career, and he could possibly be a big injury risk for the Warriors to take in on an investment to possibly win going forward. And that's a big risk. He's 32 years old, but he's an old 32, as I said, with the injuries. He's pretty much a 42-year-old playing at the center position for them, possibly. And that's a big injury concern. LeBron, of course, he's going to be 42 years old, but he's no question the most in-shape 42-year-old I've ever seen. So he could possibly be pretty healthy, but he's had a couple of knick-knack injuries as well, and he could possibly be beat up a little bit. Stephen Curry played 43 games last year, and he's getting hurt a lot the last couple of years. Draymond Green, he's been pretty durable. He showed that he could be available and you can trust him throughout that. Kristaps Porzingis came back on the 2-year deal today, and he's had his injury concerns. So this is a big risk. And then of course Jimmy Butler tore his ACL last year. So a lot of injury problems here, a lot of injury problems, and I understand it's going to be, it's a big if, but if all these guys can stay on the court, maybe the Warriors can get one final run and get one final championship with this core because they've been there before, they've done it, they got the skill. I wouldn't say they'll be the best defensive team, although if AD's healthy and Draymond, that front court should be pretty good. And we'll see what Jimmy Butler looks like coming off his ACL if he's still on the team. But yeah, we know LeBron is not going to play any defense. We know Stephen Curry is not going to play any defense. Kristaps Porzingis, I wouldn't say he's the best defender, although he can block some shots. But he's had his injury concerns as well, and it'll be interesting. And being a Laker fan, of course, I would love to have LeBron back. But if he does leave LA, it would be interesting to see him in Golden State. Although I am known as a Warriors hater, but in terms of an objective NBA fan, it would be interesting to watch, and it would be kind of like Charles Barkley and Hakeem Olajuwon and Scottie Pippen joining forces at the end, and they could possibly go for a run at it, or it can be like Brooklyn with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and Joe Johnson, and they go at it for one last time, and they see if they can win a championship with an old core. And we've seen in the past it hasn't worked, obviously, because we're talking about age here. You're not going to get healthier with age. You're going to get more beat up with age, and the injury concerns are legit. But hey, it wouldn't be a bad thing to possibly see them experiment with, and it would be interesting. So it's possible. It's still pretty far from happening, but it's a possibility. Like a lot of people are thinking that LeBron is still looking at LA. Of course, he lives in LA. His kids are living here in LA. His son's on the team, Bronny, of course, and the Lakers are welcome to have him back, of course. And I still expect him to come back. I still think he will end up with the Lakers at the end of the day, especially if they end up getting Jalen Duren, if they end up getting Walker Kessler or any other kind of good center in the fold, and add some more pieces to the team. They already brought back Austin Reeves, so we'll see if LeBron is interested in possibly coming back. I think that will be the case. But if not, then if the Warriors get AD, then LeBron might be tempted to go to Golden State and play with his good friend Stephen Curry, he's been idolizing for years as being alongside him for the Olympics. Because obviously Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter ever, the all-time three-point maker, and LeBron, shuffling passes to him. That's gonna be awesome for him, and he'll have a lot of fun getting the ball to him and shooting threes from beyond the arc, and it'll be fun to see. He'll be reunited with Anthony Davis, and you already know Anthony Davis and him already have chemistry, so it'll be a pretty fun picture to see. But there's still a lot of questions whether if it happens and whether they have success on the court and if they can make it to the end health-wise. So a lot of things to look forward to. Free agency starts on Wednesday, and be excited, guys. This is where it's like the MLB version of hot stove or NBA version of hot stove, like they have in baseball, where the deals are going to come hot and heavy. And we're going to see a lot of movement here, and we'll see if there is a lot of trades, a lot of free agent signings, and players and new teams, and it should be fun to watch. So be engaged, guys. NBA offseason is here. The World Cup is going on. Baseball's still happening, and they're heading close to the All-Star break, and that's when in the second half where teams kick it into another gear and heading towards the playoffs. So right now, sports is in a great place right now. And I'm enjoying it, and I know you guys are enjoying it as well as sports fans. And it's going to be a fun summer to come. And with that, this was the West Coast Mindset presented by the Recliner Media Network. I'm Alberto Lucero, and I will see you guys next week.
This the West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West.